I could do this all day.
I want to hear... Dude, come on! Why are you so shy? I do not know this. I heart you. The shy, I heart you.
If I'm shy, why am I just holding down the mic button?
I'm not saying anything. Okay.
I mean,
I'm not being shy.
Okay. It's like standing in front of an audience of 500 people. I'm not shy. I'm just not saying anything.
Does having it recorded change any validity in what you were going to say in the first place? I mean, what's the problem?
It's fun hearing myself.
Yeah.
I think. What the hell is that sound?
It's raping time.
That would be a tarp.
What the fuck was that sound?
Back on topic. So we're facing these Zergs. Now you're saying that we would have to counter this with our own Zerg.
Not per se countering it, but more the lines of giving them giving the opposing Zerg something to do other than run over our 5-6 people that are trying to take out small points. We need some sort of pull for the Zerg to go somewhere else. Exactly. So, in turn, whenever we have these large Zerg guilds on our server, per se, like get a huge big group together, it would be good to know where they're going. Like, throw one of our people in with that Zerg, know where they're going, and work alongside of the Zerg. And if we have a large amount of people coming up, communicate with the Zerg. Tell them, okay, we got a Zerg coming in, say from like northwest, from a tower.
Fucking Zergers don't communicate, dude. It's not hard to figure out where they're going either.
Yeah, because they don't change.
I'm a standalone plan.
But what I heard you saying is that we could, well, two things. We could use the Zerg to do two things, either as a meat shield or as a distraction.
Yes.
Meat shield.
I have a good distraction plan.
Because if that distraction is not there, we're going to experience what we experienced in our last beta weekend. I can't think of the server name, but where they had just a surplus amount of people, where wherever we went, it seemed to be a Zerg. I mean, it was like 30, 40 people, and we were standing there 5, 6 people. It's pointless. You might as well not even play World v World. So, I mean, in other words, if we want to play World v World, we want to be on a competitive server. Because if it's not competitive, we would have to wait probably about 3-4 months before the balancing system actually, if it does actually work. So, in turn, we are either going to do nothing for a long period of time, or have to work with a Zerg. You guys' choice.
Or lack a Zerg and not have a chance at all.
Or we could have Wilfred take off all of his armor and run across the battlefield and distract them while we go take out points.
Zerg or no Zerg.
We've already done the Zerg, though, by playing Horde.
The point I heart you're trying to make is that, just put it in this scenario, what happens if we are the only server that has less numbers but greater tactics? It's not going to matter if everybody else outnumbers us 5-1.
Wait, that's what he said?
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's all around server population. Or at least activity in World v World.
You're saying, well, generally you're saying that it would be easier on us if we had a Zerg.
No, that's not what we said. Easy is not the issue. It doesn't have to be easy. We don't need it to be easy. We want it to be hard. But if we don't even have a chance, then what's the point? I should have said 10-1, not 5-1.
I mean, it's simplistic medieval battle tactics. You have a large front and a small cavalry that moves around behind them. It's simplistic. I just don't understand why people are screaming small server, and it's kind of against the grain what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have that large group. We're supposed to have a distraction. This is how this is going to work, because other servers are going to do it. We can't counteract 50, 60 people with 3 siege engines. It's not going to work.
Leonidas.
All we gotta say is that you guys should just be ready to adjust however you need to a certain situation, because it's not always going to be the same. There's no way that you can prepare for it right now. It's unpredictable.
Well, let me tell you what's going to happen if we join a small pop server. What's going to happen is we're not going to play World v World for at least, I would say, 4 weeks. At the most, 3 months. Because we won't be able to step foot in unless they actually do a really good job with the balancing system to begin with. I mean, look at the balancing issues that we've seen in past with MMOs. World of Warcraft, for example. How many balancing issues were in that? You know, how often would you see lower level or lower geared people in Battlegrounds, and how much of a difference that made? You know, AFK people in Battlegrounds made a huge difference. We're going to see that experience in World v World as well. I mean, if the people are not there, we're going to get ran over, and it's going to be a long period before we can actually fight servers that equal our size. Because the balancing system works off of wins and losses. It's not server population. It's wins and losses. So at first, losers are going to be put in the same bracket as other losers, not because of population. So we might face 3 other servers that are even twice as large as us after that first week.
I think it's also possible that we might get run over by a car if we step out on the road. If we go in there...
You're missing the point.
Damn it, Dinkins!
He's not saying that.
Dinkins, shut up!
He's just saying be prepared for anything.
I agree.
Possible.
Wait, what the hell?
Now...
Okay, what I'm saying...
Okay, wait. Yes, I think we can all agree on the fact that, yes, it will be imbalanced, because that happens in every MMO. There is always going to be an imbalance, and we will face that. However, we can't just go in there pessimistically thinking that we're going to get owned straight off, and I know that's not what you're saying. I know that's not what you said, but you're only thinking about the downside. There is a very... From experience, I'm speaking from experience, there is a very good chance that we will actually pull through on the first, quote-unquote, 4 weeks. I think that we will have a powerful server presence for when Guild Wars 2 starts. But that's just from my experience.
Based on what?
Well, first of all, our guild's history, the time we have to prepare, our current guild members, our alliances... Everything that we need to make this a successful first month in Guild Wars 2, we have it, and we will have it for the next 2 months. We have plenty of opportunities. We have plenty of time. We have a damn good shot at this compared to our competition, which I have. Hey, when I'm at my job, I'm not just helping trustees or God forbid I actually do some actual work. No, I am actually on those fucking Guild Wars 2 forums looking at the other guilds and the other communities. We are ahead. There will always be better guilds than us, but right now we have a damn good edge, and that is giving me a very optimistical outlook on our first month of Guild Wars 2, though I agree, I hear you, there will be imbalances, and we will have some shit thrown at us. You're very right in that.
Let me put it this way. If you pick a server that has low population like we were wanting to, I've been thinking about this, and it's going to be the point where it's going to be like the last beta weekend. You remember that last match that we fought, and Green just ran us over. We couldn't even step outside of our spawns. We would step outside, we'd see the guards fighting people, and as soon as we stepped outside, out of range of those guards, we were dead. It'll be like that for 4 weeks.
Well, I thought we didn't we adjust to that? I don't
countered
it. We went to another map because we just plain couldn't move.
Exactly. This is what we got to do. Okay. Insane AI bots. What do you do when they're all at the bottom lane?
All right, Degrees. Yes, that's wondrous. You get kills. That's
you go
amazing.
To the top lane.
What do you get from kills in this game? You get nothing. Do you guys realize this? We have to take points.
He didn't say kills. He was talking about advancing.
He was just joking.
If they're in one location, we gotta go to the other location.
Yes,
Don't fight
but
the Zerg.
Switch
but-
those lanes.
how hard is it to? Were you guys not there that last beta weekend? We took
Oh,
over.
we were.
Dude,
if you
yeah,
pay
that's
attention,
why
I didn't give you my
I
coordinates
just
last
don't
time, but
understand. It's not that simplistic. You can't just go to the other map. As soon as we take one thing over, guess what? Green was there too. You guys remember this? We were sitting at the tower, and the only reason that tower emptied out is because they announced the final event. That's the only reason they all left.
we had control. We
We-
left because the final we had the upper hand at that point.
Yeah, we were doing
Until
fine,
the Zerg
man.
came. Until
No,
the Zerg
we were fighting them. We were holding them off.
Based on
Yeah, but
based on the
thing
stress
is,
tests and the second beta weekend, or even the first beta weekend, we have held our own, greatly outnumbered. That's again partly why I'm so optimistic about this.
I think the rest of the server had more of a representation in the other maps than because in all we've only been attacking one map at a time, and I know for a fact sometimes with World v World we were taking over other maps, and that means that wasn't our guild's doing. So if we move to a lower pop server, that's
We
not
weren't going to go to a
happen.
low pop though. I believe we agreed on a medium pop, so
Yeah.
that it wouldn't happen. We realized we don't have the numbers to fight Zergs. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to go for wins. We realize that in certain situations we will not be able to get a win because we will be outnumbered to the
I'm
point where
fine
we
with
can't do a
not
thing.
winning. I'm fine with not winning. I'm not fine with not being able to play World v World.
Now, I understand what you're coming from. I heart you right there, and I'd like to comment on that. If we ever do find ourselves in the situation, I guess this worst case scenario where we can't even step into World v World, maybe we should find the peak times at which they're on and schedule times where we play together where there are not a lot of people
That's why
logged
we
on.
were looking for, I believe it was an Oceanic server. That way, our server can still have a presence there when we're in bed and doing real life.
Because, I mean, there are going to be, especially in the beginning, it's going to be very volatile,
Well,
wins and losses, just like you
yeah.
said.
I know that, and it'll be fun for that time because we'll be taking things over. But all in all, as a server presence, that's not very healthy because we'll take it over for 4 or 5 hours. They'll all start waking up, and then throughout the entire day, through like 16 hours, another person will own it. They'll get more points than us, and we will amount to maybe a fourth of what everybody else gets.
That's
Well,
fine.
that's what we notice every
That's
weekend.
fine.
But that's why
mitigating
that's also
damage.
why we're looking for a server that's going to have Oceanic players, because while we're not on, they'll be doing it.
If you're going to lose, if you're going to get your ass whomped, would you rather lose 0 to 10 or would you rather lose 3 to 7? That's called server presence. Because they'll see that those 5 people got 3 out of 10 points against those 50 because they used strategy.
Let alone another issue that I've seen is that we don't have enough people to take out towers at an efficient rate. By the time we're knocking on the door, they can get a group together and attack us by the time that we get that door to half health. That's another thing that we've seen all the time.
We have around, 40, 50 total people at the moment, with core and casual. However, every beta weekend we usually have 5 to maybe 10 at most at one time together.
Yeah, we haven't even been recruiting for the past month and a half.
We're going to need a core that's at least like 40 to 50 strong. We need to triple.
Well, yeah, I'm comfortable with a core of 50 people. That right there sounds about right. And then casuals, off and honors, whatever. But 50 people would be perfect. Coupled with our Oceanic and European partners, we could have, like I said, a very strong server presence. With that right there, 50 people, coordinated and experienced veterans of Rakkenheid / Dominion, we could get shit done.
They don't even need to be experienced or good. They just need to know how to listen.
Right.
And follow direction.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Yep.
sorry, Wilfred.
Write that down.
We really, you're right. I heard you. I've already told you. I agree with you. Yes, there will be an imbalance, but I think that we have shown in the past events that we are capable. We have our we're off to a good start. We're on the right path. And, you know, if we choose the right server, you know, we need to choose the right server. And assuming we get a quote unquote medium population server with some good Oceanic/European allies, I think we'll be set. I agree with Macabre though. We don't want what we had on Dragon Ball. That fucking sucked. You know, being on top all the time.
Oh,
That
I know what you
with
mean.
no contest.
Just look at it like what was it, World PvP and World of Warcraft. Was it fun when it was you getting jumped by 10 people and not being able to do anything? No. Was it fun when we were the ones when we outnumbered people in World PvP? No. It's fun when it's challenging.
Yes.
I think the most we're going to learn in this is when we are in a situation like you had said where we can't even step into the grounds, where our learning curve is going to be, most advantageous then.
We've run into those situations and we've come out. So this is where our guild's really going to shine when we're faced with those situations where most guilds would have just thrown in the towel, like, let's do some PvE, guys. We fucking stuck it out and changed our strategy and fucking kicked some ass. That right there is going to make us stand out more than having 500, 600, whatever, how many people. We can do the job that, would normally take 10 times the number.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that we are part of the Zerg. No. I am all for not being part of the Zerg, but there needs to be other people, not necessarily from our guild, or at least our core, that are, that they are there pretty much to be the distraction or the pushing force, so that we could drop towers at an efficient rate, so that they cannot counteract us. And then whenever they do take it, we can make the standpoint, okay, the Zerg is pushing this way, let's take our 5-man group and take the other side of the map, build up on that tower, hold that until our Zerg pretty much takes over the keep. Then we go to the keep.
That's what we usually do,
upgrade
though.
That. Well, yeah.
But, the only issue with... I'm not saying, this is going to the extreme of what you're saying, where we would be on a high pop server, which would be like a Zerg server, is... we wouldn't have server presence. Everything, no matter what gets done, would be attributed to the Zerg.
I would not like that.
Well, here's the other thing, though. With a Zerg and a small tactical group moving around, one thing I noticed, and if we could actually pull this off and actually get somebody to commandeer the pretty much the Zerg, and pilot them around in a way to where our small group can take the small tactical points like supply routes. Our Zerg would not waste time trying to get those. They can move further up the map at a quicker rate than opposing Zergs because they're not organized.
Well, you probably remember we did about the same thing in Friday Night Fights when we had crazy amounts of people. We would just throw them off, or even the pugs. Remember doing random battlegrounds with the pugs? We'd have them go in a different direction.
Did the awesome achievements.
Yeah, I mean, we were really successful when we threw off the people who weren't really organized with us, as you would put it, like meat shields or distractions and such, while we got the job done. Definitely we can do that with even a low pop server, because there will be pugs unorganized and refusing to coordinate with us. We could use them, send information their way to our advantage, whatever our agenda. And I'm sure, yes, we can apply that kind of strategy regardless of our size, or even regardless of the server size. But like Bobby said, it's going to really make us shine, which is what our end game is all about. Standing out. We're going to really stand out as long as we're not being covered by the Zerg. We're going to take all the credit for something that we, it happened because of us. That's what I miss. That's what I miss in Friday Night Fights. People knew us because of Friday Night Fights. We did amazing things, and they knew Back then it was like PK. They knew who to talk to. We talked to PK. We talked to Officer I Heart You. Or whomever. To get this shit done on Horde or whatever. I'm like that right there. That was priceless. That was endgame for us. Missed that.
Well, definitely, if we do have the server presence as a guild, the small tactical group moving around with the Zerg, I do want to try that at least to where see if it's efficient. I think the best way to counter early game World v World is actually to do that, just to try to push, take over as much as we can, and take a defensive standpoint and move up slower at that rate.
I noticed in the last weekend, a lot of people were actually like following me and Han because we have I left Han's squad and made my own squad, and people just show up and be like, hey, where do I go? Like, I think we could have one person do that, and like we could spare one person to go just lead the Zerg around, because that person will be able to communicate with us and be like, hey, I'll take the Zerg up this way, and then you guys go the opposite way and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, for example, like we first get into the map and we go straight to a tower as a Zerg. Not as we, but the Zerg goes up to the tower. We take the supply point to the south and to the southeast. And then by that time, the Zerg can go up towards the keep or towards the west and push up to the west side instead of going to the east side and have a 2-point choke that we could do. That's another thing I wanted to do is have the Zerg go on the west side. Say like
West side.
Left
give
side
you an example.
Or west. Sorry.
Well, here let me give you the conundrum here. We take the tower that's right in front of an opposing kingdom. Their spawn point. And then, of course, let's say, we're in like an opposing server's place, pretty much. We take the tower first that's right in front of the opposing, the third place that's pretty much we're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
We take that tower right away, and our small tactile team actually builds up defenses there because they're going to come there eventually. They're going to attack to try to push forward, especially if they see us pushing forward through the west side. They're going to definitely come. They're going to try to come up behind us whenever we get to the relic at the end. So it'd be great to have a defensive point built up at that first tower and just wait patiently. It's going to be within 30 minutes. They'll be there.
Yeah.
And that would be a lot of fun. And that would be a great way to start off World v World first day. Just take that tower and sit there. We'll get so much experience for the defense of that tower. It'll be every 5 minutes we're getting experience.
Like you brought up, we would have to keep to the south and the east side. Like the west side of all the maps where that the tower keep was out in like little island, and we'd never really fared well out there. But we can easily control the southern and whole eastern side.
Yeah, and we got to have that Zerg presence just in case the third server decides to push that area as well. So we got to have at least some way of keeping them back until that tower defense is actually halfway decent. Once that defense is secured, we know we can hold off 20, 30 people easily with the siege weapons. My only worry is that we won't get the mortar or the trebuchets up fast enough to defend against other trebuchets. That's the only issue. But otherwise, first day, people are going to have siege weapons. It's going to happen. Head start, you're going to get plenty of money, so definitely there's going to be siege weapons first day of World v World. So you got to be aware of map positioning and where their siege weapons are located. It was really nice that they added the feature that you could see where trebuchets are built on the map now. That's really good.
It's raping time.